They say it's going to cost taxpayers over $8.6 million to change the street.
If taxpayers want to feel better about themselves, then donate that $8.6 million to affordable housing for like First Nations people that are actually affected by, you know, Dundas and whatever the he did.
We're here at Yonge and Dundas Square, one of the busiest intersections in the city and a landmark here in Toronto. We're here because Yonge and Dundas Square, well, it won't be called Yonge and Dundas Square for too much longer. That's because Socialist Mayor of Toronto, Olivia Chow, is moving forward with a 2021 proposal to not only rename Dundas Street, one of the most famous streets in the city, but also potentially even renaming Yonge Street, perhaps the most famous street in all of Canada. Along with it, 59 other street names that, according to the geniuses at the City of Toronto, need to be renamed because they no longer represent the progressive values of the city today. What makes this plan so perplexing is not only the fact that Henry Dundas, the man Dundas Street is named after, is not guilty of the crimes he's being accused of committing, but also because this plan will cost taxpayers over $8.6 million. All of this comes at a time when the City of Toronto is facing a dire economic situation. Just take a look at this report commissioned by the same geniuses who come up with this proposal to rename Dundas about this economic situation the city is in. Toronto's forecasted pressures cannot be solved immediately, but they do need to be addressed immediately as the city is projecting an opening pressure of $1.5 to $1.7 billion for the 2024 budget process. These pressures will continue to grow each year and will become increasingly difficult to manage if left unaddressed. Like a car accelerating toward a crowded intersection, not applying the brakes early enough will have predictable and grave consequences. This is to say nothing at all over the food bank crisis happening in this city and across the country, where food banks can no longer keep up with the serious surge of demand from Canadians who can't keep up with the spiraling costs of food in this country. Also, how about the drug and addiction crisis, where addicts are now lining our streets, strung out and in desperate need of help, not more drugs? How about the homelessness crisis taking over our once great parks, with tent cities popping up seemingly every single day? Oh, and to top that off, migrants and refugees are now having to sleep in the street because there are no more shelter spaces available to anyone else. These shelters are stretched to their limit. And Olivia Chow's plan to solve this economic crisis the city is in not only involves, like any good municipal leader, begging to the province and the feds for more money, but also to impose a municipal sales tax on Torontonians, as if Torontonians don't pay enough taxes already. We're here to ask Torontonians if they think renaming Dundas Street is a good use of taxpayer funds during this crisis. Plan to rename Dundas Street, good or bad idea?
Bad idea.
Why do you think it's a bad idea?
Because it's got history, man.
I agree.
Yeah.
It's going to cost taxpayers $8.6 million to do a renaming. You think the funds could go to something else in the city?
Yeah, absolutely. Like it.
And what do you think about the fact that there's a proposal to do the Dundas Street? They also want to rename Yonge Street.
They do?
Yeah, that's on the
I
list.
want to do that. That's ridiculous as well, man.
Renaming Dundas Street, good or bad idea?
Well, Dundas needs we need new spirits, new vibes down here. It has switched up dramatically. Like, I feel like the new name will be a brand new start for 2024, if you ask me.
They also want to rename Yonge Street. Is that too much? It's part of the city, surely.
Well, it could happen, but whatever happens, happens. But I'm not the mayor, but my opinion, I feel like a brand new name will be a brand new start, and it will boom the city again.
Renaming Dundas Street is a good idea. Good or bad idea? What do you think?
It's a waste of money.
Waste of money? Yeah, they say it's going to cost taxpayers over $8.6 million to change the street.
The only reason why we're doing this is this like woke conscience bullshit. If taxpayers want to feel better about themselves, then donate that $8.6 million to affordable housing for like First Nations people that are actually affected by, you know, Dundas and whatever the he did.
There's a city plan to rename Dundas Street. You think it's a good or bad idea?
I think it'll be a lot of work. What's the reason, do you know?
They say that Henry Dundas, who's this guy in the 1700s, delayed the abolition of slavery. But it's not exactly accurate. In reality, he put forward a motion that got passed to gradually abolish slavery. not in one swoop, not in one go. And he also represented a slave in Scotland in 1790 to help free him. So he's not really guilty of the crimes he's being accused of committing, but they want to change it anyway.
I think the money can go other places, honestly. Right now, everyone knows the name of the streets, so it'll be hard to change, and it's going to cost $8 million, so.
I think it's a big deal that Dundas is named after, again, someone that was looking to not abolish slavery, things like that. I don't want to say it's just a name, but I feel like there's better uses of money in Toronto. Massive streets, it's a lot of work that goes behind the scenes, and the money behind it. I do think the namesake could be better, but I feel like there's a lot better uses of taxpayer funds right now.
Put the money somewhere else where it's needed. I know there's a major homeless problem in the city, and the roads are messed up. It's just a word, it's just a sign to me. But like I said, I don't want to be ignorant, you know what I mean? It obviously means a lot more to other people.
What do you think about this? Also in the proposal made by the city back in 2021, they put Yonge Street on the chopping block as well.
Yonge Street's the longest street in the world, is it not?
Gotta be close.
It goes all the way to Minnesota, I think, if you go straight up Yonge Street. And no, Yonge Street's Yonge Street. It's legendary.
Should the money go somewhere else other than renaming? Should it go to other services?
Better than somewhere in the, like, goes to the charity or some country to help the poor people.
You don't care about the name of the street. It doesn't matter, right?
Doesn't matter. It's what is that? Yeah. Same name. If you ask me Ahmad, my name is Mahmoud, so that is same.
Is it any different than changing Ryerson University name or all the other names are changing? Is there any difference?
I don't think so.
No, because in that sense it's not. Technically it's not a good thing and it should be acknowledged. But I don't know about erasing it and going to the greater lengths to do that, spending all kinds of money that is limited now and to do all that.
There's a city plan to rename Dundas Street. Good or bad idea?
I don't care.
All right, well, there you have it, folks. Most people who we spoke to couldn't care less. That's because the renaming of a street won't impact their lives in any way whatsoever. It will, of course, benefit the far-left ideologues who are hell-bent on erasing any connection of the past and the people that actually built this country. Why would we want to celebrate them when we could celebrate people who none of us have ever heard of, or like in the case of Ryerson University, or shall we say Toronto Metropolitan University, or X University, whatever we're going to call it now. We're going to just commemorate nobody instead. We're standing right at the spot where the Egerton Ryerson statue used to stand. It no longer stands because it was brutally torn down at about the same time when John A. Macdonald statues across the country were being vandalized, and calls to rename every single university or institution or street in this country that was named after someone from the past. People either don't care or they think it's a bad idea and could think of many better ways to spend $8.6 million taxpayer dollars. Or, like in the case of some people, they do think it's a good idea. We spoke to one TMU, X University, however we want to call it, student, who thinks that it's important that we continue with these decolonization efforts. Is it a good use of taxpayer funds?
Yeah, I mean, I think like if, government organizations are interested in backing decolonization or anti-racism efforts, that should also be followed with financial incentive and financial backing, right? So it's okay if it costs money when it shows a commitment to prioritizing the needs and wants of Indigenous folks and following the TRC's calls to action.
Whether or not the renaming of Dundas Street or Yonge Street or any of these other streets is going to benefit the lives of any Indigenous person or Black person or other minority, well, I'll leave that up to you, but I think we can all agree that the answer is it won't do anything. What is the goal of these people who want to rename our streets, rename our universities, and tear down our statues? Is it to, as they say, advance decolonization? Or is there something more sinister with their motives? Are they trying to erase the history and perhaps rewrite the history of this country? Let me know in the comments your answer to that question. That'll be the comment question for the video. Reissue of the week time. We don't always like giving the award to Justin Trudeau. Sometimes it's just too easy. But other times, he really deserves some recognition. He's earned it this week, like when he posted this tweet on Monday. Canada is the best country in the world, and at our cabinet retreat this week, we're focused on making it even better. We'll do that by making life more affordable, building more housing, fighting climate change, and making progress on issues that matter to Canadians. Making life more affordable, like increasing the carbon tax on struggling Canadians. Building more homes despite telling us 2 weeks ago that housing was a provincial responsibility and not a federal one. Fighting climate change, like destroying the energy sector in Alberta. What a solution to make life better for Canadians. 7,266 replies to only 6,661 likes. I'm guessing people don't feel as though Canada is the best country in the world right now, and maybe Justin Trudeau's solutions just aren't bringing much optimism to Canadians who've been around for 8 years and know what to expect at this point. It was the best country in the world before you. It'll take decades to straighten out the mess you've made of us and it, but we will. I cannot wait for you to be gone. Take a look at this devastating reply from a user called The Amazing Zoltan. He posts a video of tent cities popping up across the country with the quote, "Canada is the best country in the world." Take a look at this comment as well, if this is not a sign of the times we're living in. Again, utterly devastating to Justin Trudeau and his supporters. My Canadian friends ask me to screenshot the news for them. Brutal, but accurate too, because if you want to get your Canadian news on Instagram, on Facebook, can't do it anymore. That reminds me, since Justin Trudeau and the federal government seem hell-bent on stopping you from being able to see the news that actually matters to you, not the propaganda from the legacy media, but actual news that holds the government to account, well, the only way you're going to be able to make sure you're going to see that news is if you sign up for the True North newsletter, where we send True North news directly to your inbox. That way we don't have to rely on Facebook, Google, and the censors at the CRTC who want to stop you from seeing the news that matters. All right, everyone, that's going to do it for us today on the show. Thank you so much for tuning in. My name is Harrison Faulkner, and this is Ratioed.